lot to break down there. Grizzlies. Ooh, that was a rough one.
It was a mess, and it's been a mess.
It's a rough one. We're gonna open there. 125. We're gonna bring on Dan Favale from Bleacher Report. He writes there. Also the deputy editor of NBA Math, and we're gonna talk Grizzlies. We're gonna talk the rest of the NBA as a whole and see what the playoff picture is looking like. 225. We're gonna cover a little bit. Me and Drew probably have a difference of opinion to a certain extent about the NCAA one-time transfer rule. There's been
Probably.
I see both sides 100%. We're going to get into that.
And I mean, it's kind of hard for both of us to have the same minds.
Of course
thought about it, because you obviously being a college athlete, me, and not being, just not knowing what you went through day to day and all the different factors that play into being a college athlete and the transfer portals and whatnot, that there's just going to be things that I can't understand.
Of course. And I don't expect you to understand the full thing, but the NFL Combine is also underway. We're going to get to some of the news around that. I want to start here, a little bit of NBA news. Malik Monk of the Hornets, third-year player, has been suspended indefinitely by the NBA for violating drug policy. He is going to be suspended without pay. Without pay. Definitely rough for the third-year player, 11th pick in the 2017 draft. It's an open-ended, indefinite suspension. According to the NBA, they will continue until he is in full compliance with the NBA and NBA Players Association anti-drug program. Obviously, he hasn't been great since he's gotten into the league, only averaging about eight points per game, has started one game. So we'll see what happens with Malik Monk going forward. But the Grizzlies got slaughtered last night. And
you knew it was going to happen.
You saw it coming from a mile away. At the end, one of my favorite things is seeing on the floor. Obviously, Bruno got in for the Rockets, was with the Grizzlies, last month at the same time. But the lineup at the end of the game with Marko Guduric, Dusty Hannes, and John Konchar on the floor at the same time.
Dude, love Dusty Buckets.
That's always fun.
Dusty Buckets, man. You got to love him.
But yeah,
2
Rockets,
or 3 from beyond the arc.
Hey, he's I like the skill set, but as an NBA player, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for it to translate, really. But for the Grizzlies, I mean, obviously coming out of the All-Star break, losing 4 straight and not really being close in any of them, and you knew that's what was going to happen, especially when Jaren Jackson Jr. went down, when Brandon Clark went down with their injuries, that it was going to be an uphill battle. And when you're going through the stretch of Lakers, Clippers, and Rockets before you get back home this Friday against the Kings, who you lost to last week,
it's rough.
It's gonna be tough to win any of them. You would have liked to have gotten one, but you can understand why you finished this road trip 0-4.
Yeah, they mathematically and by all measures have the toughest second half schedule of any team in the league. So.
Which is why what I'm about to say is probably going to be a very unpopular opinion, especially here in Hoop City.
Unpopular or just realistic?
I think it's realistic, but it's going to be unpopular.
Yeah.
Shut it down. It's time to shut it down.
Well, I mean,
with Jaren Jackson Jr., with the injuries, there's no need to bring back Trey J this season, because while you still have a shot at the 8th seed, what are you realistically looking at the playoffs? Yes, I want to be in the stands. I want to wave the growl towels just as much as y'all do. But we got to look towards the future here. And Jaren Jackson Jr. is one of the biggest parts of that future. And there's no need to risk
Brandon Clark as well.
And Brandon Clark. There's no need to risk that knee. And if you've had knee injuries, you know how hard it is to come back 100%. And when you start to get the minor knee injuries, like Jaren Jackson Jr. has been getting the last couple of years, you know the big one's coming. Now, here's the thing. You really can't avoid the big one. But how far down the road can you push the big one? Can you make sure that with rest and easing him back in and not putting too much strain on that knee, can you push that big injury a few years down the road? That way it doesn't wreck what the Grizzlies front office has built in this postseason, this offseason.
You absolutely don't risk anything. Grizzlies got hammered last night, 140-112 by the Rockets, minus Brandon Clark, minus Jaren Jackson. Obviously, Grayson Allen's been on the shelf for quite a while now, so the scoring was nowhere to be found last night. Not many bright spots last night.
Yeah, and I mean, Ja hasn't been really the same in the after the All-Star break,
Yeah,
which can be understandable as a young guy.
But when you have a guy like him who's not necessarily the best 3-point shooter, not necessarily very good as a mid-range shooter at this point, he has to get into the lane, and they're clogging it up. They're able to with no outside shooting. Obviously, Dylan Brooks has been pretty miserable since the contract extension. Last night, sort of a little bit better. 22 points on 9 for 26. I mean, it was one of those games where you knew the offense had to run through Dylan Brooks.
Somebody had to score.
And he had the opportunity to shoot himself out of a slump. He went 4 for 10 from 3, which is an up. But in general, it was just a bad matchup. They were down after the first half to the Rockets 73-47. Westbrook and Harden combined for 45. Westbrook was fantastic last night.
That was his first time playing the Grizzlies this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had missed the previous 2 matches.
He was fantastic last night.
He was. And I think now I'm not going to go as far as Ja Morant and a lot of players around the league go as saying that he gets disrespected and doesn't get the respect that he deserves or the media coverage that a player like him deserves to have. I mean, he's still Russell Westbrook. I mean, he's a former MVP of the league. Like, I don't get really the disrespect comments. Maybe he's not on the level of LeBron, but guess what? Nobody's on the level of LeBron. So to kind of compare him to being one of the top 2-3 players in the NBA, he's just not that.
He gets disrespected.
Top 10,
he's
definitely.
Top 10 for sure. He gets disrespected in the fact that he is not the best shooter. Okay, he's inefficient. Some people would argue that he's not a winning player. I disagree. He wins a lot of games during the regular season. But the Rockets' new style, that's what I want to get to too. The Rockets' new style, I have been thoroughly impressed. I think they're 9-2 since they've gone to the small ball lineup, not playing anybody basically over 6'8". And they made 23 3-pointers last night. They were 23 for 50. They look really good. Is this going to translate? I think they'll have some good matchups against teams like the Lakers, teams that don't necessarily shoot incredibly from the outside. But when you get into games with good bigs, like you go against the Jazz, go against the Nuggets with bigs, and they're able to stroke from the outside, I think it's going to be tough matchups for them.
Yeah, it's going to be tough matchups. I think for the Rockets, too, on that other hand, when they do have to play a pound inside type of basketball game, and the 3-ball, yeah, it's great when it's working. But what happens that one night, especially a crucial playoff game, say Game 6, Game 7 in the NBA playoffs, where the shots aren't falling? What are you going to do? You have to – I know the NBA is all about small ball, positionalist basketball, but some nights the shots just aren't going to fall, and you've got to have a plan B.
The question becomes, though, once you get into playoff basketball, can this style help them win more than they have here in the past? Because I think in certain facets it might. It gives them a better shot. It's more suited for them. They have very guard-heavy system even before with James Harden, Russell Westbrook, even when Chris Paul was there, where they are volume shooters and scorers. So I think when you put a PJ Tucker at center, it creates while it will leave you susceptible when the other team's center is actually a good scorer, I think more times than not it creates a really horrible matchup with that opposing center trying to guard a guy like PJ Tucker on the perimeter. Because last night, Jonas on any switch, it was rough. I mean, he was basically matched up with Robert Covington for the most part last night, and it's just it does not seem like something sustainable to have a big out there who's used to banging in the paint trying to guard on the perimeter.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a tough defensive matchup for that opposing center or power forward, that's over 6'8", that's about, 6'10" to 7'2". It's going to be hard for them on the defensive side. But for the Rockets, if you're going to continue to play this style of basketball, and it can be a winning style of basketball, you're just going to have to you're getting in shootouts every single night. You're going to have to score 140, 150 points night in and night out. And like I said, what happens when the shots just aren't falling? People do go cold. And it's not like you can really expect, Austin Rivers to go 4-7 every night.
But you have, like, literally top to bottom, you have shooters
You do.
all over the floor.
And you hope that
So,
when you play that type of basketball, you hope somebody steps up.
You feed who's got the hot
Who's
hand
hot,
that
yeah.
night. And you have so many guys who could possibly have the hot hand that night. And if they're all on, then you will score a uncanny amount of points like they did last night, 140. But back to the Grizzlies, like last night, the issue was the Grizzlies would have to shoot lights out to be able to compete. They don't have outside shooting right now. The Rockets shot 55%. Grizzlies shot 39%. You don't give yourself a chance. Every person on the Rockets team was in the plus. Westbrook with the old plus 37. Good.
Nice.
Lord. I mean, God, he was good last night. Harden and Westbrook combined for 63 when it was all said and done. But the Grizzlies, that was one of the more demoralizing road trips I've ever seen a team take ever. I mean, losing two of your best players, you go 0-4, and the average margin of loss was 25.
Yeah, you weren't in any of the games.
And your two victims are Jaren Jackson Jr. and Brandon Clark. And going forward, the next 8 games, they're going to have to find a way to win something. You have the Kings tomorrow, the Hawks twice, Brooklyn, Orlando, Portland. The Lakers are mixed in there. We chalked that up as a loss already. But even beating these teams without those two players is going to be very, very, very hard.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, when we were at the All-Star break, you kind of started to break down the remaining of the schedule and realized how hard it was going to be. But you saw some winnable games on there. You saw especially some games at home. At home, you saw games against Portland. You got New York, the Knicks coming in. You got New Orleans at home, which hasn't been a very good matchup. I think you can possibly get an OKC win at home. We got Orlando, Atlanta, also at home. Sacramento this Friday on home court. You saw that there was going to be, at least 8, 9, 10 wins left to go in this year to get you somewhere and possibly get a few more on the road to get you around 40, which is going to be what that magic number to squeeze in the playoff is. But if it keeps working out the way it is, I don't even know if they want to win the 8 that I think would be guaranteed.
If they want to hold on to the 8 spot, they're going to have to win several games they're not supposed to. That's just what it is. So after the next 8 games, you're going to have 16 games left. Of those 16 games, after March 12th, 11 of them, 11 are against winning playoff teams. Teams with winning records that are going to make the playoffs. The chances of them being able to sneak out wins in those spots are going to be really hard. Does it matter in the grand scheme of things whether they make the playoffs and hold on to this 8 spot?
I don't think
no,
it
not
does.
at all. And I think the front office will absolutely respect that and not try to rush a Brandon Clark back, not try to rush a Jaren Jackson Jr. back.
Yeah,
but it feels
like I said, I think they should realistically start to look at shutting it down. Start to rest Ja Morant. Start to work in more 10-day contracts, which they're doing. Try to just put a roster together to be respectable. I mean, you don't want to get blown out night in and night out, but I don't think that if you miss the playoffs and somehow just everything falls apart, you finish the season with 34, 35 wins, that it diminishes what this season was. This still, in the grand scheme of things, was a great season for the Memphis Grizzlies if it ended today.
Here's the truth
because
of the matter.
you exceeded expectations.
Already.
You already are 3 steps ahead of where you thought you would be.
The truth of the matter is you were picked to win 26.5 to 27.5 games. You're at 28 and 30 right now. You're already ahead of schedule. Like, that's already where you're at. But for me, when you look at that 8 spot, it really seems like it's going to be an inevitable. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But it seems like an inevitable fall from that spot. If you guys want to join the conversation here at any point, 67129 is the First Bank text line, as well as the First Bank phone line, 360-8255. That's 901-360-8255 if you're calling from elsewhere besides Memphis. But like I said, I really hope I'm wrong. But when you have a schedule and the type of injuries they're seeing right now, it's tough because I think they're up 3 games right now. But those 3 games can be lost in a quickness.
They can, especially when a team like Portland is right behind you who, if Damian Lillard had stayed out a little bit longer, you'd feel a little bit better about that. But, Portland's definitely going to catch you, especially with the rest of this schedule and just how many tough games you have coming up. I mean, Boston, you've got Portland twice, you got Toronto twice, Philly, Houston again.
What I said is if they don't here at the beginning of March bang out a couple wins, you have the Hawks twice, again, the Nets, the Mavs, the Magic, and then the Trailblazers. If you don't bang out a few wins here, it's going to be a steady and quick fall.
I think I might even put it at
Kings,
March 6th is where you start to cut it off.
March 6th?
Yeah, after Dallas. If you had out of that's what, 5 games from now?
5 games.
You're not 3-2.
So if you have
it's an easy winnable 3-2 right there. I think
Kings, Lakers, Hawks, Nets, Mavericks are the next 5 games. If you get to 3-2 in that stretch,
then I think you can keep it going.
But the problem is you have 2 of your best players on injured. They're injured right now. You can't do much about it. You're in a spot where you have to try and sneak out a couple wins that you shouldn't have because they're going to be underdogs in every single one of these games because you're traveling to Atlanta here on the 2nd. But tomorrow is a decent game. I mean,
it's a winnable game.
It's a winnable game, but it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I just don't really see right now, especially the way that they've been playing and the slow starts. I mean, oh my goodness, the slow starts have just killed them. While the Grizzlies have played pretty decently, especially in the third quarter of this 4-game road streak, the slow starts are just killing you. I mean, you can't start a game scoring 17 points in the first quarter.
You can't go down, 73-47 at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be teetering around.
But then again, I can't
down by 30 points all game.
They don't have scoring on the floor right now.
So what are you supposed to do? Just when you get down by 30, say, all right, I'm done.
Try to figure it out. I mean, you just have to play as hard as you can, and if Dylan Brooks can sort of repeat some of the performances he had in the first half, maybe they can sneak some out, but it's going to be tough sledding. On the other side, we're going to have Dan Favale from Bleacher Report to talk the NBA as a whole and some Grizzlies. So don't go anywhere right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Spend your lunch with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 middays, delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings & Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings & Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings & Grill.
Hey everybody, love is in the air and no one loves their customers more than our friends at All Star Chevrolet. And if you want to be in love with a new Chevy, Olive Branch is where you want to be. All the deals you love are at All Star Chevrolet. Like the new 2020 Silverados with 0 for 72 plus thousands in customer cash. How about 0 for 72 with a new 2020 Equinox plus thousands in cash when you finance with GM. And Chevy keeps getting the awards. And the awards mean a lot, people. Like the new Corvette Stingray 2020 North American Car of the Year arriving soon, so stay tuned. And everybody at All-Star Chevy has one job to make sure you get a better deal that's more fun and in record time. Remember, not the Pike, not Mount Moriah, not South Haven, not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. So if you could love a new Chevy right now, maybe a new Silverado or an Equinox, head to Olive Branch and drive what you want today. Drive them all. Just find new roads to All-Star Chevy and Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com today.
Now exclusively at the Home Depot. Give your lawn a 1-2 punch with a bag of Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action and save 50% on a bag of Scott's Turf Builder Ultra Feed. Pick up both bags. Apply Triple Action now to knock out tough weeds and Ultra Feed 8 weeks later to green and feed all season. 2 bags. One stronger, greener lawn. With a 1-2 punch of Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action and 50% on a bag of Scott's Turf Builder Ultra Feed. Now at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. While supplies last, selection varies by store.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Welcome back to Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. This hour is brought to you by MemphisFarmers.com. Insurance coverage backed by a local agent and a brand trusted nationwide. We are farmers. MemphisFarmers.com.
Well, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why.
Couple of texts here, 67129 on the First Bank text line, talking about the Grizzlies. You can't hide from injuries. If he's healthy, play, man. Well, you can't hide from injuries, but
it's not about this year.
It's not this year.
It's about 2022.
The Grizzlies' plan is very future-oriented, and the front office has shown that. And also, we have another text saying, sounds eerily similar to the Tigers. I disagree completely. The Tigers were high expectations and sort of fell off the map, whereas the Grizzlies are in a position right now that they absolutely, positively, before the season, they just shouldn't be. I mean, no one expected what we've seen so far.
You know, and to the texter where it sounds eerily similar to the Tigers, and kind of the point that I'm making about Jaren Jackson Jr., just shut him down. Don't risk injuring that knee anymore. With the loss at SMU earlier in the week, the chances of DJ Jeffries coming back here in the next couple of weeks for the conference tournament and then postseason, if you're not in the NCAA tournament, do you risk rushing DJ back early? I don't think so either, because DJ's not leaving. I don't think he would be on anybody's list as a potential transfer. He's definitely not on anybody's draft board right now. So you're going to have him back next year, so why risk it?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But without further ado, we're going to bring on our friend for the first time this year. Usually comes on this show, a pretty decent amount during the NBA season. But Dan Favale from NBA Math is the deputy editor over there. He's the NBA writer for Bleacher Report, and he's also the co-host of the Hardwood Knocks podcast. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Cannot complain. First time we've had you on, man. I remember having you on quite a bit last year. Hopefully we can get this rolling for this NBA season. But I want to start here with the Grizzlies. Obviously here in Memphis, they've exceeded expectations for the most part. Obviously I haven't gotten to talk to you since they dealt away Solomon Hill and Jay Crowder. In return, got Justice Winslow. What do you think of that trade? And do you think that the Grizzlies front office is on the right page as far as being future-oriented?
I think for the trade specifically, it was a lot of money to take on to get someone like Justice Winslow, who has been injured basically all year. That being said, I think you have to appreciate the vision, because it does prove that the front office is thinking long term, and they essentially said to themselves that Justice Winslow is going to be better than anyone that we can feasibly sign with cap space this summer. And if you think that that's true, if you think that he's your guy, and the fact that you have his contract for another 2 years under team control at a reasonable salary, I think it's really a good move from that standpoint. You would have rather have seen one of the Heat's expiring deals involved in that deal as opposed to both Johnson and Waiters, and we know they turned Johnson into Gorgie Jang. But I think overall their mindset is correct. And to make that move when you were firmly entrenched in the playoff picture to where I think at the time they had like 4 or 5 games on the 9 seed at that point. To make that call then, I think that shows a commitment to the future, which is a good thing when you look at where they're supposed to be in their development.
So right now, they're obviously in the 8th spot. I think it's by 3 games over the likes of the Blazers.
2.5 right now.
2.5 right now. Blazers, Pelicans, all that. How with these injuries that have happened, how quick do you think this fall out of this 8th spot will be? Do you think they have any chance, especially with the schedule coming up, to at least hold on to it for a little bit here?
I think there's a chance they hold on to it for a little bit just because Western Conference teams can sort of cannibalize wins from one another. But you just look at the strength of schedules, and they have one of the hardest schedules remaining in the league, and you lose both Brandon Clark and Jaren Jackson Jr., who I think it's become clear during his brief absence so far that he is the most impactful two-way player on this roster. Still. And so I do think that they end up forfeiting that spot to probably the Blazers or the Pelicans, but we've seen just up and down stints from everyone below them where people thought it might be the Spurs that come up on them. People left the Sacramento Kings for dead, and now they're within a few games of that 8th spot. So there's so much happening that it could maybe work out in the Grizzlies' favor, but when you just look at the injuries coupled with the strength of schedule, I do think that they ultimately drop off from the playoff picture.
Dan, staying with the Grizzlies before we start to go national in the NBA, obviously Ja Morant hasn't had that great of a start to not really second half, but post All-Star break. And it seems like everybody and their grandmother wants Zion Williamson to win Rookie of the Year. Do you think there's a way that Ja can kind of play himself out of it at this point? Because, like I said, he's been struggling here recent.
I suppose if he continues to just clang 3-pointers off the rim, maybe. And if the Pelicans do make the playoffs, perhaps that helps. But I just keep coming back to the sample size. And Zion Williamson, if he plays in every single game for the rest of the year, he's still going to have played in fewer than half of this season's games. I think he could top out at 37. That's just not enough for me, particularly when Ja Morant has been so good for so long. And guys like him are going to work themselves out of these slumps. These rookies, they do tend to hit a wall, and that could happen to Zion Williamson himself. I know he's well rested from missing that time at the beginning of the year, but he's starting to play real NBA minutes, and that could eventually catch up with him. Even if it doesn't, I think it's fine to give him second place, but this isn't trying to forecast the trajectory of their careers right now. It's Rookie of the Year, and I look at that as a wire-to-wire award, and because Ja Morant has been more available, I think that he should end up being the consensus favorite there, even if he does finish the season on sort of a mini slump.
We got to, all the Grizzlies fans out here got to see a firsthand look at sort of the new Rockets, the analytics, the small ball, sort of what they've been doing. I think they're 9-2 since they've sort of switched over, including like a 5-1 record against winning teams, playoff teams. What do you think of sort of the new idea of the Rockets since Clint Capella's been out?
I enjoy it insofar because they needed to do it by acquiring Russell Westbrook. I think Clint Capella's days there became numbered once they made that trade, just because the Rockets decided long ago that you can't have more than one non-shooter on the floor. And so in Capella and Westbrook, you had 2, and having Capella hang out in the dunker spot wasn't really doing much for you. And watching them since Capella got injured, and then obviously after they traded him, there's just so much space for Russell Westbrook to attack. Yeah. He leads the league in drives per game since he last played with Capella. He's shooting a very high percentage on those shots. This is arguably the best version of Westbrook we've ever seen in his career, because in Oklahoma City, they never subscribed to the motto, let's put Russell Westbrook on the court surrounded by a bunch of shooters. It just never got to that point. And the fact that the Rockets have gone there, I think it's best for their roster, and it gives them a lot more mismatch potential in the playoffs. There's going to be concerns about rebounding and defense in some matchups, but teams have to cater to how they're playing to some extent. And so I think the way they're playing right now gives them a higher ceiling than they had before.
And I'll tell you what, watching Jonas Valanciunas last night try to match up with Robert Covington and P.J. Tucker and James Harden on switches was painful. Very, very painful, to say the least. But come playoff time, are there matchups with that Rockets team that you think are kind of ugly, whether it's the Jazz or the Nuggets or something like that? Are there teams that you think will give them fits with that style?
Yeah, there's certainly. There might be teams that can maybe match that style to a better degree when you look at the Clippers and they can use Marcus Morris or JaMychal Green at center against those lineups, which will open up things for them. I actually think that Utah's lineups will be more of a liability against Houston, but perhaps a team like the Nuggets where they can really bully you on the offensive end in ways that Utah can't with Nikola Jokic, that could end up being an issue. Having to go up against Anthony Davis with the Lakers, whether he's playing the 4 or I'm sure they'll be more inclined to play him at the 5 against the Rockets, that they don't have someone who could just readily defend him regardless of what position he's playing. So those could be 3 problematic matchups for them. But I think what this does is it's going to force even those teams to maybe deviate from their own norms for at least short stretches when they're playing the Rockets, which plays right into Houston's hands.
Dan, obviously, Milwaukee's the best team in the league right now, 50-8, and the only team that's clinched a playoff spot here in February. Do you think they have enough, though, in the playoffs to I think they're going to come out of the East, but how well do you think they match up against the Lakers in a 7-game series?
I think they match up fairly well. You know, the big question for them is going to be what happens if there's a defense that can take away the transition opportunities like the Raptors did to them last year in the playoffs. And I think they've kind of diversified their attack in the half court a couple of different ways to at least mitigate that impact should it happen. Giannis Antetokounmpo, still not the most efficient jump shooter, but he's taking them in higher volume. He has a fairly competent mid-range game. Right now, he's taken about as many pull-up three-pointers as Bradley Beal this year, so I think that helps alleviate at least some of the spacing concerns for other players. And then you just look at the team in general where, yes, they lost Malcolm Brogdon, but they're arguably better on the shot creation front. Chris Middleton has been spectacular this season. Eric Bledsoe's faded in the past 2 postseasons, but he's having a pretty good year. And then the emergence of Dante DiVincenzo, who does a little bit of everything for them. He replaces Brogdon's positional range, and we've seen him go through some ball handling sets on the offensive end. He's someone who could dart in from the corner off cut, someone who will take some pull-up jumpers. So I think that they're deep enough to navigate any defensive matchup issues they run into, but that's still going to be the big question about them until they prove that it isn't, just because of how their past 2 postseasons have ended.
Yeah, DiVincenzo with the good old sneaky athleticism. You know I love the guys with sneaky athleticism. But when you look at the rest of the East, the Sixers are coming under scrutiny right now. Some people think Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid can't sort of coexist. I don't know how much I believe that. What say you?
I believe that they can coexist. It's just that the Sixers have yet to build a roster around them that makes sense. They kind of went the opposite direction of what they needed more than ever this year by bringing in Al Horford, and there was the chance that it would work, but it really hasn't. And you just look at their spacing when Horford, Embiid, and Simmons, when they're all healthy on the floor at the same time, it's not great, and the offensive returns have been pretty bad. And the problem there is benching Al Horford doesn't fix that alone, because you needed to stockpile the roster with secondary ball handlers, but more importantly, functional shooting. You know, not just someone who can hit threes, but can maybe hit them off the dribble or hit them coming around screens. They lost 2 of those guys, a ball handler, off the dribble scorer in Jimmy Butler, and then that sort of pinball shooter in JJ Redick in free agency. And those were the two of the most important pieces to making this partnership between Embiid and Simmons work. So I don't think it's so much as the Embiid-Simmons fit as much as the Sixers have decided to build the roster around them. They really need to work on that over the next year or so.
And going off what you just said, obviously losing Jimmy Butler and JJ Redick, which one of those two do you think would make a bigger impact this year? I mean, obviously Jimmy Butler's a better player, but very bad when it comes to chemistry-wise. Who would have made a better impact for the Sixers this year?
I think JJ Redick, just because Jimmy Butler's probably just that better crunch time scorer, and perhaps that helps you in the playoffs, that face-up weapon who can really attack. But when you look at what the Sixers need most from top to bottom, JJ Redick was always an underrated playmaker. While he was there, he could score. You know, he wasn't just a catch-and-shoot guy. He came around screens. He could score off the dribble. He ran some pick and roll for them, even though they weren't a very pick and roll heavy team. And so when you just combine all that with, by virtue of his spacing, because he is a better shooter than Jimmy Butler, that's what this team needs a little bit more. Jimmy Butler becomes probably more critical when you're into the conversation of who made more sense, him or Tobias Harris, and it was Butler by a landslide, obviously.
We're speaking with Dan Favale at Dan Favale on Twitter. Right before we get you out of here, I know you have to be elsewhere here soon. I just want to ask you, who right now in the league is your MVP frontrunner?
It's Giannis for me, and I actually don't even think it's that particularly close. LeBron is the clear number 2, but I think there's a ton of distance between Antetokounmpo and him. You just look at what Giannis is doing in Milwaukee, and he's not playing as many minutes, but that's because the Bucks are just destroying teams, where there are some of these games where they don't even need the fourth quarter. And so you combine what he's done on offense just as a scorer, when you look at his per possession output, with his, it seems like this emotional attachment to the outcome of every defensive possession. There's no one else in the league who really shoulders that type of two-way burden. And so for someone to be able to be the most valuable player on the league's best team while also contending for Defensive Player of the Year, I think it ends up being him being named MVP in a landslide.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Dan. Obviously, follow Dan on Twitter at Dan Favale. He's the deputy editor of NBA Math, NBA writer for Bleacher Report, and also has a good podcast called Hardwood Knocks. Again, appreciate it, Dan, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
Most definitely. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks, Dan.
Dan Favale. Well, on the other side, me and Drew have a segment here coming up.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I really appreciate.
We're gonna go to the Twitterverse,
social media.
If you've been on Twitter in the last couple of days, you've probably seen the if you were kidnapped tweets, and they allowed you to keep tweeting to kind of show everything's normal. What would you tweet to show your followers?
These are sports related.
Sports related, yes, that know you, that if you tweeted it out, would think either your account was hacked or you really were in trouble. So we're going to give about 4 or 5 of ours on the other side.
Absolutely.
So I have a few of those.
You got a good one?
You do?
I got a few.
Good.
Well, let's get it done. So stay right here, right on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
So this time of the year, Humdingers is the place to go for Lent. We offer salmon, tilapia, swahi, rainbow trout, mahi, crab cakes, ahi tuna, anything you need, including our shrimp and grits. You can get any of those with our fish toppings, and you can also get them blackened with pineapple salsa, piri-piri mushroom, black bean corn salsa. Humdingers is also in the wedding business. We are doing catering for weddings, any social events, any corporate events. You can dial our hotline at 901-260-8292.
You have to be up in 5 hours, 2 hours, 6 minutes. And when you hear, you realize that you haven't slept a wink. That's why there's ZzzQuil Pure Z's, a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin, so you can fall asleep naturally with no next-day grogginess. It's available in both liquid and gummies, tastes great, and is non-habit forming. Pick up ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vicks ZzzQuil. ZzzQuil Pure Z's, naturally superior sleep. Available at retailers near you.
I almost never go to Central Barbecue without running into somebody I know.
That could be because you only eat at Central Barbecue.
It's because Central Barbecue is where Memphians go to get barbecue and has consistently been voted the most popular barbecue restaurant among locals.
Actually, that's really saying something.
I know. Memphis is the nation's capital of barbecue. With all the choices, people who live here go to Central Barbecue.
They do get their share of tourists.
Sure, because Central Barbecue has been mentioned on TV and in tons of national publications. You know why?
Because of the great food?
Because those TV shows and magazines look for the place where the locals go, and that, my friend, is Central Barbecue.
Hi, this is Troy Five Ash, owner of Five Ash Roofing. It is that time of year where the weather is unpredictable, and given the recent storms, it's a good time to discuss insurance claims. So here's a few things you should know. Always hire a local contractor, because if you have a problem with your roof down the road, you want to be able to find him. Never allow anyone to pressure you into signing a contingency contract. They're used as sales tools, making you feel committed, and the truth is, those contracts are not worth the paper they're written on. Be careful of door-knocking salesmen. Some are reputable, but many are not. They canvass the neighborhood and tell everyone to file a claim, working their percentages and not caring if you file a claim even when they know the likelihood of it being approved is low. Some will even damage your roof, hoping to convince the adjuster it's storm damage. That's fraud, and contractors have gone to jail for that. So do your research and know who you're hiring. Five Ash Roofing, the official roof of the University of Memphis Athletic Department. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Welcome back to Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio.
Kick it over here.
This hour is brought to you by MemphisFarmers.com. Insurance coverage backed by a local agent and a brand trusted nationwide. We are farmers. MemphisFarmers.com.
Thick and thin, I'm your pusher man. I'm your pusher man.
A couple of texts here on the First Bank text line. One of them in regards to the comparison between the Tigers and the Grizzlies, I sort of mentioned that I think the Grizzlies and Tigers are completely different situations given preseason expectation. Person chimes in. They say both teams have lost 2 key players, and they both are facing do-or-die remaining games, and as well as head coaches with limited experience, and both have grand black unis. Oh, grand black unis. There we go. That's the similarity that we're going to draw. But as far as do or die, I mean,
for the Tigers, it is do or die.
Yeah, but Grizzlies, I guess we could say do or die, but is it do or die?
No,
really?
because you're not.
In
it's
the
not
playoffs.
the plan.
In the playoffs, you're not going to make a big splash as an 8 seed against the Lakers.
And college basketball and the NBA are just two completely different things. Where college basketball is more of a year-to-year thing, where you're trying to win as much as you can each year. NBA is more of a future plan. You kind of plan out the next 3-4 years, either through drafts and trades, and how well you're going to play, how much you're going to play guys.
And then same person, text in. They both play in the same building. They both have really tall human beings, and even the mascots both have fur and big teeth.
They do. Very good comparisons.
Yeah.
For the Tigers and Grizzlies. Before we do get to the you've been kidnapped social media tweets, what would you tweet to show people that you are in trouble? At about 2 o'clock, I just want to give a big shout out to Barry, who called me last week saying that he had found a box of programs from the University of Memphis Tennessee game, November 9th, 1996, and brought them up to me today. Thank you so much, Barry. These things are so awesome. We're actually going to give away 2 of them. At about 2 o'clock, just call in on the First Bank phone line, 360-8255. I'm going to ask you a very simple question. If you have any idea of what happened November 9th, 1996, I'm sure you'll get the questions right. So we'll be doing that about 2. And if you're on the live stream, I'll show the camera here how cool they are. Very mint condition. Thank you so much to Barry for bringing those in. I know I'm going to get a lot of enjoyment out of them. So let's go ahead and go to the social media stuff. And like I said before we went to break, if you haven't heard, it's all about what would you tweet out that would be so shocking and weird to people that know you or follow you on Twitter that it would raise so much suspicion that they got to call somebody, check in to make sure you haven't been kidnapped. So I'll start first. My first tweet would be, baseball is too slow, and I'm really glad Rob Manfred is trying to make the game faster and more exciting for young people.
That's a great take. That's a great take, man.
That would be if I was kidnapped. That's
a great take.
It's not a great take.
That's a great take. What are you talking about?
Don't tell me. Don't be a baseball hater.
I'm not a hater.
Okay.
I'm not a hater, but it could be a little quicker.
No.
It could. Just a tad bit.
Or the people, if they really want to watch baseball and they want to get into it, how about you learn about the game? Learn the ins and outs of it.
Look,
there is a lot of excitement if you know what you're looking for.
I'm a baseball lover. I'm a Cardinal lover. So my first tweet is easy.
Oh.
Go Cubs.
Go Cubs.
You would know I was locked up in a basement somewhere with that one. What you got, Carl?
Mine's kind of similar to yours. If I'm a Laker fan, and if I bust out, I love the Celtics.
Ooh.
Or if we're talking football, I say I love the Cowboys. I'm a Steelers fan.
You're a Steelers fan.
Ugh, hate the Steelers.
You like Mason Rudolph?
He's okay.
Okay.
I take Ben.
Okay. Gotcha.
I think we're all right. All right, next one for me. I have no hard feelings to the AAF anymore. I'm sure they needed the money more than me.
That would be one that would see. I'm with you on that one. That one would fit me too.
Because I'm sure those people definitely needed the money more than I did.
I was actually a part of the AAF.
I was as well.
Before the collapse, and tried to play, got cut, all that good stuff. Well, bad stuff, and then the collapse. The collapse happened.
Yeah,
now,
so many people were telling me that it's a good money, Drew. You can't go wrong. You're getting it on the ground floor. It's going to work out great, and I believed it. And
what about the
XFL?
Would you take a job with the XFL if Memphis had a team?
Right now, yes. I think I would. I think I would.
Good.
While numbers are starting to drop, TV numbers are starting to drop. I think it's better football than what we had in the AAF, even though it's kind of the same similar players. And I just think the newness of it, especially like with the kickoff rules, the 3-point extra point rules and stuff like that, I think it's fun and it's something easy to watch, and plus it is a faster game.
Yeah, there's certain. I thought they would be gimmicky, the kickoff rules and everything, but I actually enjoy some of the quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes now, gimmicks that they sort of have gotten.
But if I was going to work for the XFL, I think I'd take half my money up front.
But anyway,
I'm getting something up front.
This time I would know you were in trouble if you tweeted that. My next one. Antonio Brown seems like a very reasonable fella. Super misunderstood. What do y'all think about that one, huh? Would y'all know I was in trouble?
Yes, I would call you and say you were crazy.
I know you're in trouble. I'll probably tick, so you okay?
No, y'all know you would tweet back just irrationally.
No,
names.
I know you would be in trouble.
Horrible take, Gabe. That's awful. Get it together. You guys know you would.
Honestly, he is a little misunderstood in the fact that I have no earthly idea what he's doing and why he does the things that he is. So technically, he is misunderstood.
Yeah.
Carl, you got another one?
Yeah, I do. It's more with the sporting brands. Everybody who knows me know I'm a Nike guy.
Okay.
I do not like Adidas. So if I tweet anything about I love Adidas or I want these new Adidas.
What's wrong with Adidas?
Nothing.
They got some decent shoes nowadays, man.
I'm just more so of a Nike guy.
Okay.
I just love Nike.
You're not the only one.
And before I do my next one, if you have some of these tweets that you'd like to send to us, please hit us up on the First Bank text line.
We will read them out and laugh. Please do it.
I forgot the text line number.
67129.
67129.
First Bank text line.
First
Bank text line 67129. Please hit it with your tweets that you
would. Was that your kidnap tweet?
Yeah, if I forgot the number. What's the text line number? I don't know.
Do you know what the phone number is?
Yeah, 360-8255.
There we go.
It's been the same for 7 years.
Yeah.
All right, my next one. I'm glad Mario Chalmers hit that 3 in the 2008 National Championship game and ruined my childhood. It really helped me build character.
Well, but then you added that passive-aggressive element to it and ruined your childhood.
It did ruin my childhood.
I know,
and I've said on these airways many a times that I despise Mario Chalmers, and he took the innocence of my childhood.
But that's that passive-aggressive tone. I don't know.
You're right.
Count,
You're right.
Carl?
That is passive-aggressive.
Does that count?
You just took me back to my sophomore year, but
does that count?
I don't think it would be.
You wouldn't?
Because you said you ruined my childhood. It almost seems like
you're right. It's too passive-aggressive that it's something I would tweet.
Yeah,
if you didn't say the last part, you would have been fine.
Yeah, and I think your kidnappers would know immediately that you were trying to send a message. Right?
Aren't we trying to? That's the whole point.
No, but you're not trying to alert them.
Oh,
your kidnappers can't know. They know you're on Twitter, right?
Yeah. That they give you the phone so that you
This honestly, when you think about this like hypothetical situation, there's a lot of like circumstances like, well, the kidnappers know you're on Twitter, so you can say something, but you can't alert them. But you have to alert the other people around.
Yeah, right. So it's kind of hard.
If you have close friends, they should really know you. So they will be the ones who will be triggered the most.
I got a baseball one for you.
All right.
What the Astros did wasn't really cheating. Simmer down, folks. Simmer down. Astros didn't cheat.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right?
Golly, man. Everybody does it. They ain't cheating. What y'all think?
I don't know. I don't.
Believable.
Me and you haven't really gotten into diehard baseball talks before, so I know my views about it. I don't really know if I would know yours about it, but I'm sure one of your friends would pick up on it.
No, it's cheating. I mean, is there anybody out there that really thinks it wasn't?
The Astros?
Well, they think it was. They said sorry. Why would you say sorry if you
They didn't mean it.
They probably said they're sorry because they got caught.
Yeah.
Then why don't they
You only apologize when you get caught.
I mean, it would be something else if they're like, I'm sorry we got caught. I'm sorry y'all caught us.
No, you can't say it like that because then you're not showing any remorse.
Well, they didn't really even.
No, it was the worst apology that I have ever seen. I mean, honestly, I would have been more fine with it if they would have just like came out and just been like, yeah, so what? We won a title. I really don't care. Like, I'd rather them be honest with me than to be fake.
Yeah, you have one more?
I've got two more.
Okay.
I've got two more that I'll throw at you really quick. This one isn't sports related, but it's very good if you know anything about me. I think Memphis bars should be like Oxford and close at midnight. Who really needs a drink after midnight?
Gabe, check his forehead.
Phil Street should close down at 11:50. There, I said it. Go home, children. Nothing good
What do they
happens
say
after 1
open time?
a.m.
Do they close at all?
Like 4. I've shut them down before.
It's been a while since my college days, man.
I've been there when the lights
Not
come
even
on.
Really. I'm saying that it's been a while.
I've been there when the lights come on.
Here we go.
It's a little depressing.
Last one for me. College athletes are amateur and don't deserve money for their name or likeness. Athletic scholarship is suffice.
I'd like and retweet that one.
So you agree with it?
I
huh?
agree with you.
Okay.
College
All right.
education.
I
it
agreed
has a
with
price
your first
tag.
one. I agreed with your baseball take. It was a good baseball take. Even though you're trying to alert the kid or alert people.
I am, because anybody that knows me knows that baseball is just fine the way it is, Rob Manfred. Quit trying to ruin the sport that I love.
Oh, I will. I can definitely agree with that. I think Manfred is
worst commissioner of all time.
On one. But when we come back, we have some NFL news, CBA discussion. We have 1996. Drew, tell them.
1996 game programs for the Memphis-Tennessee game. We'll be giving away
Mint
2.
condition, people.
So go ahead and call us on the 360-825 First Bank phone line to go ahead and get in there before these 2 are taken away. Like I said, be pretty easy questions. If you have any idea what happened November 9th, 1996, you should be able to get it.
We'll be right back here with more of Sports 56 Happy Hour right here on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
You have to be up in 5 hours, 2 hours, 6 minutes. And when you hear, you realize that you haven't slept a wink. That's why there's ZzzQuil Pure Z's, a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin so you can fall asleep naturally with no next-day grogginess. It's available in both liquid and gummies, tastes great, and is non-habit forming. Pick up ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vicks ZzzQuil. ZzzQuil Pure Z's, naturally superior sleep. Available at retailers near you.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkheimer for Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. Thinking about a new or used car truck and not sure where to get the most for your money? Listen to what Sunrise has to offer. Over 1,000 new Buicks and GMCs to choose from with factory rebates up to $6,500 and Sunrise discounts high as $10,000. Bad credit, bankrupt, slow pay, it's okay at Sunrise. We specialize in secondary financing, and if you've got a job, you're approved at Sunrise. The #1 volume Buick GMC dealer in the Mid-South and home of the guaranteed credit approval. SunriseMemphis.com, Covington Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville.
Let's up your life with Lads.
Spring is almost here, and this is the perfect time to visit Lads of Memphis for all your golf cart and lawn tractor needs. Visit their open house on Saturday, March 7th, and check out the new Spartan mowers and current promotions. Test drive a new Club Car Onward golf cart and spin the prize wheel for a chance to win up to $500 in Lads credit.
Lads, up your life with Lads. Lads, up your life.
I almost never go to Central Barbecue without running into somebody I know.
That could be because you only eat at Central Barbecue.
It's because Central Barbecue is where Memphians go to get barbecue and has consistently been voted the most popular barbecue restaurant among locals.
Actually, that's really saying something.
I know. Memphis is the nation's capital of barbecue. With all the choices, people who live here go to Central Barbecue.
They do get their share of tourists.
Sure, because Central Barbecue has been mentioned on TV and in tons of national publications. You know why?
Because of the great food?
Because those TV shows and magazines look for the place where the locals go, and that, my friend, is Central Barbecue.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 96.1, and 87.7 FM, as well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app, and at home, tell Alexa or Google to play Sports 56. If it's happening in the world of sports, we've got it covered. Wherever you are, stay tuned to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdingers. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdingers, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdingers offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome to Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. On AM 560, 96.1 FM, and 87.7 FM. This hour is brought to you by your CBD store, your one-stop for all your natural, organic, and non-GMO CBD products, where good health hits home.
Get out right here. Ladies and gentlemen. And now?
Now, the only man to ever win the World Series of Poker with a Scrabble board, Johnny Harden.
Welcome back to hour 2 of Sports 56. Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. We are your substitute sports mixologists, Drew Barrett and Gabe Kuhn. Carl on the other side of the glass. Don't forget, we still do have the 2 programs from the 96 Memphis and Tennessee game. Going to be real simple questions. Just call in, answer this. I'll go ahead and give the first question out. And this just to show you how simple these questions are going to be. Who caught the game-winning touchdown in the fourth quarter with like 26 seconds to go? Like, who caught the pass? It's that simple. I'm not going to try to belittle you or try to trick you or anything. I just really want to give these things out. These things are so cool. I think they are definitely a collector's item for any huge Tiger fan. But while we're waiting on y'all to call into the First Bank phone line, 360-8255, we'll go ahead and get into our NFL and the collective bargaining agreement conversation.
Let's start here real quick. NFL Combine today, the tight ends, QBs, and wide receivers go. So this is a big day. The QBs are working out. So everyone's going to freak out.
How is Joe Burrow's hands?
Are
they still tiny?
They are tiny hands, man. But Jake Fromm was even smaller. Jake Fromm had like 8 7/8. God.
Man, they're never going to be able to hold on a football. How are you ever going to play
quarterback? How are you going to grip a football?
Man.
But I did hear CJ and Peter talk about you could grip a football without your pinky. But we'll get into that with them when we see them. But real quick, it will be between 3 and 10 p.m. Central Time on NFL Network. There's some local names in it. Antonio Gibson is listed as a wide receiver, so he will be working out today. They did request as well that he work out as a running back. So we'll see what happens with that. Stephen Guidry from Mississippi State will be going today, and as well as Jawan Jennings from Tennessee. And I as far as wide receivers, though, I think it's a really deep draft. But with the QBs, it's going to be pure QB madness today. Jordan Love is going to start shooting up draft boards. They're going to see the big arms on all these guys. And we always see the guys that don't pan out. Right now,
I mean, you got to have the MVP of the Underwear Olympics. I mean, that's all it is.
Last year it was why is it DK?
Yeah,
and he did really well. He had a really good rookie year. The top 10 here: Mel Kiper's big board, Chase Young from Ohio State, D-end at 1, Joe Burrow 2, Tua Tagovailoa 3, Jeff Okudah from Ohio State, pretty rangy cornerback at 4, Isaiah Simmons, outside linebacker from Clemson at 5, Derek Brown, D-tackle from Auburn at 6, Jerry Jeudy at 7, C.D. Lamb at 8, pretty deep wide receiver draft, 2 in the top 10 here, Justin Herbert, Oregon's QB at 9, and Javon Kinlaw, D-tackle from South Carolina at 10. That's Mel Kiper's big board.
I mean, obviously Chase Young is a great player, but there's no way he goes before Joe
what I
Burrow.
saw the other day? Yesterday I was looking up their combine profiles, and I look at Chase Young. I've watched his film, and he doesn't show really negatives. He doesn't. He's ridiculously athletic, uses really good technique, has great hands, strong as all get out. Yet on this NFL.com site, they literally have him with 11 negatives. It's how could you find 11
What
negatives?
I mean, did you watch game tape?
They said
did
he
you
was
watch him play
they
this
said
year?
non-factor in the Clemson game. I'm like, that's because that people game plan for good players. And good players can't make plays when they're getting game plan.
And when you had almost a month to game plan for it, I mean, it's pretty easy to figure out how to double team them.
I didn't really have much words for it. It's 11 negatives on Chase Young.
At that point, you're just trying to find something.
Of course, and they do that with these guys. It makes me wonder, with their they say things. Did you see that once on film, or did you see that time after time? Because don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Let me ask you, somebody who you did pro day at the University of Memphis, correct?
Sure did. And by the way, pro day, for all those wondering, is March 23rd for the University of Memphis.
All right. So what really does the combine get you as far as draft status that your pro day wouldn't? Because you're still going to have pretty much the exact same scouts there.
So
right?
what they do is for the combine, they're going to make sure that those are the draftable guys who have the best film. That's just how that works. So a lot of those guys are
but for the people
that
go to the combine but decide not to work out and wait for their pro day, why do they even need to go to the combine in the first place? I mean, does it really just go? Just being invited help?
It helps. It really does. Well, you got to understand, these guys are already, big film guys, and sort of understand that they're going to be drafted or signed. Carl, we do need a name for that.
Yeah, I'm texting you right now. We're gonna need a name for that person.
But while he figures that out, the pro day is for guys that are trying to make a mark who didn't have the greatest film. So whether that's a guy who needs a little bit of extra oomph, a little bit of extra development before he gets to a team, it is what it is. But we have Matt ready to answer the question. Say the question again real quick.
Matt's going to answer the simplest question I could think of when it comes to 96. And like I said, we have 2 of these. So when he gets this, be sure to jump on the line. It's going to be something just as simple and easy. Question is, who caught the game-winning touchdown pass for the Tigers? Matt, do you have the answer for us?
Matt, let's hear it. Matt? Matt dropped.
We lost Matt. Matt, call back and we'll give you a shot at it. But the thing is about the combine, I mean, I just want to know realistically, what do scouts see? Because obviously these scouts are going to be at the combine and at the majority of pro days, right? It's going to be pretty much the same guys or the same type of guys who are looking for the exact same thing. What does the combine show us that we would not learn at a pro day, other than the fact of it's more nationally televised? I mean, is that all it is? Is a show, and it really does.
It has become that for sure. It has definitely become that, but it's the same exact thing. It's just they have.
I mean, you do the same drills at pro day.
Yeah, they
don't
do
you?
the same exact
you
drills.
Do the 3-cone
but
shuffle.
The difference is they have it. It's NFL sanctioned, whereas the other ones are They're school sanctioned. The differences aren't
Are the
really
measurements off? I mean, at the combine,
Oh, the
you're running-
measurements will be different because they hand time at pro days and they do a laser time at the combine.
But I mean, realistically, when you get into laser and hand time, what are we talking? The difference.
Big difference because laser, whenever you move, it starts. Whereas hand time, you have human error. And I guess theoretically, hand time could like skew it either way. It could be slower or faster, but usually it's a faster time.
Let's say at the pro day, the guy runs 4.25, and then, but at the combine he ran a 4.29. I mean,
he's getting drafted anyway.
I mean, I'm just saying. I just picked out a number, but I mean, is his draftability going to change that much?
Here's the example. Here is like sometimes people go to the combine, cornerbacks, skill players. They end up running, say, a 4.6. And what those scouts are saying then at this point is like, okay, he needs to improve that time at his pro day. And then they'll go to their pro day, run a 4.5, but they still count the 4.6. I get what you're saying. It's kind of weird.
It just seems
the combine has
useless
become
to
a
me.
show and a money grab with the TV contract. So I get
Like,
that.
okay,
Matt's back. Matt's back. Matt, so who scored the game-winning touchdown in 96? Matt?
96?
Yes. Memphis versus
Oh,
Tennessee.
I thought it was. I didn't hear all the question because my phone broke up and I didn't get the.
Oh no, you don't know.
Man.
You don't know.
96. Oh,
Memphis
shit.
versus
Excuse me.
Tennessee. One time the Tigers won.
Yeah, it was the Tennessee at the Liberty Bowl. Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
You get one guess. Let's hear it.
I totally draw a blank.
No guess. All right then, Matt.
Thank you.
It's the easiest, one of the easiest questions
Golly,
I
if
could.
anybody
I thought
else
to
wants
throw
to
out
comment,
there.
whoever.
And if you're watching on the live stream, like, please look at this. Like, these things are mint condition, just super
Now-
phenomenal. I'm probably gonna frame one myself.
CBA discussions. While the NFL Combine's going on, the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement is the owners and the Players Association are trying to come to a head here. And there's been a lot of problems with that. And I just want to open this up right here. This is Maurkice Pouncey. He's an All-Pro center for the Steelers, 2-time All-Pro, been to the Pro Bowl 8 times. This is him in regards to what the NFL Players Association thinks about the CBA.
Man, this so crazy, man. I vote no. That our NFLPA, the dudes at the top, the leaders, man, that shit all bull. That they ain't looking out for the best of the players. And if y'all want my vote, the Pouncey twins vote no. And if any player, any one of our teams, if y'all hurt for rent money or anything while we go through this lockout, call us. Man, we got way more money than what they had back in the days. We ain't got to worry about that. All the vets on each team stand the up. Stand up. Show these guys that we care about them. Man, I care about all you young players, and I love you guys to death. I ain't going to let y'all down. Trust and believe. They trying to sign a bull deal just so these sitting there president can go around and smile and say, I got something done. You ain't get done.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Tell us how you really feel there, buddy.
Yeah, someone's angry.
There's that. Definitely a tirade there via Instagram video. Strong words from Maurkice Pouncey, All-Pro center for the Steelers. And, you know, what he's saying about, I agree in the certain fact that owners are innately going to be greedy in these situations.
Well, yeah,
they
it's a
know
business.
they know the product they have. But for him to say he's going to take care of these players,
But you ain't.
it's going to be hard, dude. Like, that's a lot of guys. For example, on his team, there are 26 out of the 53-man roster that are on a minimum deal.
Mm-hmm.
A minimum deal. So you're going to
What
take
about-
care
what
of
about-
26 guys rent
And let's
in
also
a lockout.
let's
if they
also
don't get
add that
paid?
to practice squad guys that are banking
that
on
are
paychecks.
that are making $100,000 a year.
You gonna help them out?
Is
You gonna pay their bills?
We get the decent living. I understand they all make pretty decent money. Not decent money, very great money. But again, this is the NFL where this money's not guaranteed tomorrow. This money also can be a big problem, you know, down the road for them because they're getting it for 3 years and then they have to try to find a new sort of avenue to make this money. But Maurkice Pouncey said it I mean, that was strong. Strong.
Here's the thing about the collective bargaining agreement and what Pouncey has to say. Yeah, it's great that you feel that way, buddy. But you're just one guy. I mean, are you going to get veterans on all? Let me look. You're going to get veterans on all 32 teams to agree to do this. Are you going to get that many people on board with you? Yeah, it's great to be a part of the revolution, man. Fight the machine, fight the power, kill the man type of stuff. But you're a millionaire fighting billionaires who, while you're losing money, they're not. They have other investments. They have other business. They're bringing in millions and millions with or without you. They can withstand a lockout. You, sir, cannot. You just don't have the money. You don't have the equity. You don't have the financial backing to outlast these guys. And if you really want things to change, and the only way that football and the NFL is going to change, and this is for all sports, for players that want a better deal, and I understand you want a better deal, but until teams are publicly owned, where the city itself owns them, where it's the taxpayers are the ones that are paying for you, it's going to be a business. Yeah. You know, if they want to do it that way, where the city of Memphis can potentially go out and purchase a team, and if it goes through a vote where the city will agree to up taxes to where we take money from our taxpayers and pay your salary like a state employee, then yeah, you can get a fair deal. But until the NFL and football isn't just all about the bottom line, which is how these guys made all their billions, it's not going to change. And you might as well. And I get you want to look out for the younger dude, man. I get it. It's just not going to happen. So just quit asking for it.
So I really do think the owners, this is one of the worst collective bargaining agreements they've put on the table. I'll get more to that after we have Matt. Matt, you have dialed in. You're answering the question for a 96 Memphis vs. Tennessee program for game day. So who scored the game-winning touchdown?
Hey, Chris Powers.
It is Chris Powers.
Yep.
Congratulations, Matt.
Matt, you hold, and we're going to have Carl take care of you. You can come pick that up, and he'll handle it for you.
And we still have one left, so it's going to be a simple question, just about that easy. If you want to call in and answer a question,
you have a question?
I mean, I can go ahead and create one.
We'll do it. We'll do it next segment. But anyway, as far as the CBA, Aaron Rodgers also voted no in this. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, the NFLPA reps voted 17-14 to 1. You have to have a 2/3 vote from these reps, which would be 21-22 votes. But Aaron Rodgers actually came out and voted no based off conversations that he said he had with the men in his locker room that he's tasked to represent. He said, although I do see there are many things in the proposal that improve the lives and care for past, present, and future players, there are issues with others. I felt it was important to address adding more offseason recovery time with the increased workload. The value of our players and strength of the NFLPA can only be realized if we ourselves know and believe our worth. And I do agree to a certain extent. Now, the problem here lies is the owners know their product. They know exactly
and they know that they hold all the cards.
Yeah, 60% of their league, 60% of their players are on minimum deals. Mm-hmm. So those guys don't know if tomorrow's promised. They need that money right now. So the owners are in a situation where they can take advantage. Does that mean they should take advantage? Absolutely not.
No, but that's how business works.
But it is how business works, but that also doesn't excuse the greed of the owners. Now, this has been the problem with the CBA negotiations in the NFL for a long time. But
you would ultimately like for the owners to do the right thing, to give the fair deal, to make sure everybody's happy. But that's
because the owners are making money regardless. That's
you'd also like that to happen in every business. You'd love for the boss to take a little money out of his pocket and put it into yours. But Gabe, when I'm holding all 52 cards, it's going to be really hard for you to win a hand of poker, right? When I know that I control you and I control your lifestyle that you want to live, and I control that I am the only person out there that can give you what you want, I'm going to take full advantage of it. And it's human nature.
I'm with you, but it's so obvious and out in the public light. It's crazy to me.
Why should they have to hide it?
Here's the changes that I want, okay? And I know it's not realistic that they're going to get all of them, okay? I want, one, more guaranteed money. They need to get more guaranteed money on these contracts. They have a 3-year lifespan on their careers. They need more guaranteed money while they can get it. 2, you got to shorten rookie contracts. You've got to. 4 years with a team option for 5 on your rookie contract when...
Yeah, but you get that big bonus up front. You get that real big check.
That's your whole career, though, is 5 years.
Yeah, but those
4 or 5 years.
Those players, they see that rookie check, that big bonus right there in front of them. It's hard to turn it down and say, let's wait it.
That being said, I still think it's ridiculous. You got it down that 4 years with a team option for 5 is crazy, considering that the average NFL lifespan is 3.3. It's like 3.3 years, 3 years. I think you can agree with this one, though. Lifetime health insurance.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
These guys. That needs to be done, or at least an extended version of a health insurance plan that's going to help
Here's the thing,
these guys.
Gabe. I'm all for all of this. I would, in an idealistic world, I would love
and I know
for
they're
all
not
of this to
get
happen.
all of it.
And I would love for this to happen in all walks of life. I would love for any employee out there to get paid what they feel they deserve, to get the benefits that they rightfully deserve. But that's just not how this ball of dirt and water that goes round and round the sun works. It just doesn't. And while it's maybe not morally right or the right thing to do, these are business people. This is how they conduct their business. And like I said, I want all of this to happen. It's just unrealistic. Well, it's not going to.
I do want to mention that this is one of the worst CBAs that has ever been put out in front of any league, personally, based on how much revenue the NFL has now generated. The least valued team in the NFL is the Buffalo Bills. If you bought them today, they'd be worth $1.9 billion.
Ooh, that's a steal.
Last year, $16 billion in revenue in 2019, and that's only going up. So the revenue share right now, they're going through it. I really don't think the NFL is going to... I don't think the Players Association and the players are going to pass this. I think they need more. I really do think they need more. I know they're not. All the things I said. The lifetime health insurance, 50-50 revenue split, shortening rookie contracts and guarantee money. They're not getting all of it, but at least give them something to work with.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Gabe Kuhn, as a former college athlete, and I think somebody that let's say you did want to get back into the game. Let's say the NFL really does.
I would take any contract in front of my face.
Exactly.
I'll tell you right now.
You and thousands of other people will gladly take their job.
I'm completely on that. I agree.
You would be a scab, man. You'd cross.
I'm with you. I'm completely with you.
So, Mr. Pouncey, regardless of how many people you try to take care of, there's going to be somebody there ready to take your job. While the product on the field might not be much.
Trying to help the future players of the league.
No, he's not. And
yes, he
doesn't care. None of them care. They don't. They really don't. And I'm tired of the lies that they keep telling us. It's the same thing, man. Just be honest. You do not care. You're telling me that you care about somebody that's in 10th grade right now. You are a liar. You are lying.
He is trying to help the future of the NFL.
He's trying to put on a good face. He is lying.
That is what it is. Now, the NFLPA offered a 1.5% more revenue share, and Schefter reported that it's $5 billion swing. And obviously, it was kind of interesting. I was wondering where they got that number, the $5 billion, and I realized a CBA is 10 years. So it's $5 billion over 10 years. Yeah. Regardless, that's a lot of money. But they did fail to mention that it was over 10 years. But like I said, I think in these situations, the cards are in the hands of the owners.
I'm an owner, man. I'm holding all 52.
If they go into a lockout, these players
they lose.
They stand to lose a lot more, and that's just what the NFL is.
There's no winning.
They're the only league, though, I will say, that doesn't do a 50-50 revenue split is the NFL. And it's just interesting how this whole thing has worked. It's very obvious why rookie contracts are 4 years with a team option for 5, because they want to get the next person in that they don't have to pay money to.
And exactly, when the lifespan is not that long.
Cannot fail. It
I want to have all
fail. It just can't fail.
No.
So 50-50 revenue split can't, to me, from where I'm sitting, with $16 billion of revenue roughly a year and that going up, I don't see 50-50 being that much to ask. But owners?
They're not going to get everything they want.
The owners are going to do what the owners are going to do.
You know, the players come back and say, all right, I think the owners will give the lifetime health care because that's obviously just the right thing to do, and they'll definitely save some face on that. The players can come back and say, we want this, we want that, we want this, we want that, and the NFL will say, all right, you want all of that, we'll give you this, we won't give you that. And you know what? If I really want to, I feel like adding a couple more games to the regular season. So I'm proposing 17 now. If you want all of this stuff that you're going to give you, man, I'm going to need 3 more games. I'm going to need 20 games, 20-game regular season. How do you feel about that? And let's bring back that. Let's bring back that extra pregame game. So that way I don't lose money on that. Because if you're asking for all of this, buddy, you gotta give me some equal return.
Within Aaron Rodgers', statement, he also talked about the fact that he didn't think, no one in the league thought that 16 games was a negotiable thing. He didn't think that 17 games.
Oh, it is. Everything is.
But
I want to put you in leather helmets again.
I personally don't think this form of the CBA is going to go through. And the problem is, I think the owners are way too eager to pass it. That's when the players should be like, okay.
What are they
Wait a second, buddy. Wait a second. Why are y'all so eager to get me to sign this thing? We probably shouldn't sign this thing. But you got a question before we go to break for this next Tennessee versus Memphis game day program from 96?
Yeah. We'll stick with easy questions, very memorable plays. Who had the 95-yard kickoff return for the Tigers?
Call in 360.
One in SB.
Call in 901-360-8255 on the First Bank phone line, and you have a chance to win. But right now, going to get to break right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. Weekday afternoons from 3 till 6. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Hey everybody, love is in the air and no one loves their customers more than our friends at All Star Chevrolet. And if you want to be in love with a new Chevy, Olive Branch is where you want to be. All the deals you love are at All Star Chevrolet. Like the new 2020 Silverados with 0 for 72 plus thousands in customer cash. How about 0 for 72 with a new 2020 Equinox plus thousands in cash when you finance with GM. And Chevy keeps getting the awards. And the awards mean a lot, people. Like the new Corvette Stingray 2020 North American Car of the Year arriving soon, so stay tuned. And everybody at All Star Chevy has one job to make sure you get a better deal that's more fun and in record time. Remember, not the Pike, not Mount Moriah, not South Haven, not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. So if you could love a new Chevy right now, maybe a new Silverado or an Equinox, head to Olive Branch and drive what you want today. Drive them all. Just find new roads to All Star Chevy and Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com today.
Farmers Insurance knows that there's a not-so-subtle difference between the sound of a car hitting your rear bumper and the sound of a clown car hitting your rear bumper.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Sorry about that.
We call that a three-ring fender bender, and we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent.
They know a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
You have to be up in 5 hours, 2 hours, 6 minutes. And when you hear, you realize that you haven't slept a wink. That's why there's ZzzQuil Pure Z's, a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin, so you can fall asleep naturally with no next-day grogginess. It's available in both liquid and gummies, tastes great, and is non-habit forming. Pick up ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vicks ZzzQuil. ZzzQuil Pure Z's, naturally superior sleep. Available at retailers near you.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Welcome back to Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio.
Kick it over here.
This hour is brought to you by your CBD store, your one-stop for all your natural, organic, and non-GMO CBD products, where good health hits home. Here's Johnny Radio himself, John Harden.
Shackles, ball and chain. Listen to the whistle of the evening train.
Welcome back to Sports 56 Happy Hour. Caught myself that time. Didn't say it. Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Gabe Kuhn, Drew Barrett here filling in for you. Do you have another program from the Memphis-Tennessee game November 9th, 1996 to give away? Kevin, you are up first. The question again is, who had the 95-yard kickoff touchdown return in the game? Kevin, you know the answer?
Kevin, shoot.
Hey, I believe it was Keith Cobb.
It was not. It was close.
Kevin,
Kevin.
You were very. We dropped him. Very, very close.
Oh no!
You had a 1 in 3 chance to get that one right, depending on the last name. Let's see if Ryan knew the mistake that he made. Ryan, do you know which one of them did it?
It'd be Kevin Cobb.
It
Correct?
was Kevin
it was
Cobb.
that close.
And for those who don't know, there were 3 Cobbs on that team, so it's a very, very easy
you know
mistake
what,
to make.
Kevin, you were close. If you want to call back in,
I'll give you another question.
But Ryan,
Kevin.
we're gonna have Carl handle it for you, and you can come pick that up whenever. So,
man, so close. I mean, there were 3 Cobbs.
I guess we're nitpicking.
Did you hang up on him or did I?
I did.
Okay, I was gonna give him a shot at it.
You said it was wrong.
So if Kevin calls in, I'll give him another question, and I'll get out another one.
We got Kevin.
Is that Kevin?
We got Kevin back. All right, let's go.
All right, Kevin, I'll give you one more shot at this. Who led the Tigers in rushing in the game?
Kevin, shoot
Kevin,
away.
you know that
Who
one?
led the Tigers in rushing that game?
Man, was it maybe Andre Wood?
It was not. I'm sorry.
We got another one here.
You got another one. All right. No, okay. I'll give.
Well,
I've got a couple extra ones if somebody wants to answer that question. Who led rushing? Led the Tigers for rushing?
In the meantime, we're going to move on to this. I have to drop a little bit of NFL news here. Trayvon Boykin, he's former TCU and Seattle Seahawks quarterback, was actually sentenced to 3 years in prison yesterday after pleading guilty Wednesday to charges from the 2018 beating of his girlfriend. Boykin and prosecutors agreed to the sentence in return for his guilty plea Wednesday to aggravated assault and witness tampering charges. Boykin's attorney said his client will be eligible for parole in less than a year. He actually, in that situation, broke her jaw in 2 places and then tried to keep her from coming forward. So 3 years seems like a very minimum sentence.
Very minimum for my opinion.
And he's been in trouble with the law several times before. But me and Drew,
do you want to do this?
Let's talk about it, man.
We're gonna do
NCAA,
this.
the Division I Transfer Waiver Working Group is considering a concept, and I think a lot of you out there know this. That would allow athletes in all sports to transfer once without sitting out a year of competition. If adopted by the Division I Council, the new waiver criteria would allow athletes in all sports to compete immediately if they are in good academic standing, not facing suspension at their original school. They would receive a release to transfer. So I see both sides of this. I can see where.
Do you want to start or should I?
I'll start.
Okay.
I can see. I see both sides. I'm going to say this right now. part of it is athletes' rights. You want to help these guys out. If they pick the wrong decision at the age of 17 or 18, they should probably be allowed to switch it once. Once is fine. Twice, 3 times, you're getting into some hairy waters there. But the other side of this, as Mark Richt, I think, pointed out, is that it will be easy for coaches to swoop in and grab players once they develop at a smaller school, say a Memphis, to offer them a chance to win championships at a better program.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the main problems with this transfer rule. And
it's one, though.
But here are other things about the transfer rule and why I'm really not a big fan of transfers. I understand, making the wrong decision. Obviously coaches leave. I think that's a different circumstance. But for a guy, and the reason why, and something people like to bring up, well, if me as Joe Q. Public picks a school and I don't like it after the first semester, I can leave. Well, yeah, you can there, Joe. But here's the difference between college athletics and regular students. Joe, you didn't sign with a school. They let you come there. All right? You did not choose to. You chose to go there, but they let you attend. They let you pay. They make you pay tuition. You did not sign with them and make an agreement with this school that says, hey, we'll give you this free education, an education that they put a price on, and it's called tuition. We'll give you free housing and board if you'd like, which for regular students, guess what? They put a price on it. We'll give you meal cards. We'll feed you, which guess what? They put a price on it for Joe Q. Public.
But we should also not compare regular students to athletes.
Did I make an agreement with the University of Memphis when I decided to go there? Did I expect them to give me for me to perform a service and then give me something back in return? Did I expect that to happen?
No, you're paying them for
I
an
paid
education,
them for an education, and it has a price on it.
I don't think it's a comparable thing. I don't. Normal student athletes are very exceptional at what they do.
They are.
Get in that
they have a
position
skill, and that's what you get for having that great skill.
And I don't think they should be held to the same standards in that same thing. But we have Mike calling in. Who led the Tigers in rushing in '96 against Tennessee, Mike?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, Mike,
course,
you know that?
Yeah, Scruggs.
It was Jeremy Scruggs.
Mike, we're gonna have
Christian Brother Graduate, he's dead now, of course.
Yeah.
Yes,
he passed on.
Absolutely, rest in peace. Mike, we're gonna have Carl handle you on the other side.
Hey,
Paul, we apologize. We are done with giveaways for the day.
All right, I was gonna bring up another question, but back to the transfer portal, and I don't want people to think that I'm heartless and that I think that this is how it should be, that the university owns you. I don't. I think if you truly are unhappy, if a coach leaves, then yeah, you should get a transfer, but it shouldn't be to where, especially when all of the money starts to come into play. If what's going on in California legislature and other states legislature that athletes are going to get paid. What happens when you sign with a school at 18, you blow up, right? And not only can you go down to Tuscaloosa or out to LA to play for USC or somebody else, and you're getting financially, not just in education, financially more. What's keeping businesses from coming in and swooping in, saying, "Hey, I'll pay." You're getting sponsors. You're getting your likeness and stuff. You're getting what? We'll just throw out a number: 200
Let's
here.
remember this. This is a
I'll
one-time
give you 400
thing.
there.
I don't think every athlete.
It's
thinks
one
in the
time.
lines.
It's one time now.
But I don't think every athlete, and it's not in act yet. It's not. It probably will pass pretty soon. But I don't think every athlete thinks in the mind frame of, okay, I've gotten really good at this school. I'm at Memphis. Let me go to Georgia now and start at running back. No, I don't think everybody thinks that.
I don't think they do
either.
And
I think that's a slippery slope.
Few that does, and here's the slippery
slope
right
argument.
now, it's at it's one-time transfer. What if that's not good enough for him? Yes,
that's fine.
What if 10 years down we weren't talking about a one-time transfer 10 years ago. What about 10 years down the road? Well, maybe they should get 2 years.
I'll disagree at that point. One time is fine. I'm totally good with one time you are able to transfer without penalty of sitting out a year.
One
now,
is absolutely enough.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think
absolutely
2,
enough.
3.
But once you start down this road, there's no telling what it could lead to.
Do you realize also that like scholarships are non-renewable? This is a 1-year deal. This isn't 4-year deal.
I know how they
like,
work.
It's a situation where you're going to let that coach have all that power over you and you're powerless. I think that you put power into the student-athlete's hands when you allow them, okay, I have one transfer. If I'm not playing, I'm not happy, I get to go do that.
But what happens when the coaches become powerless? At that point, like you just said, I've got now.
Coaches aren't powerless.
Well, let's
What do you mean they're powerless?
I'm not.
They have less power.
Will you
powerless.
Will you let me finish?
Okay, let's hear
What happens for the guy that we've already talked about, and especially all of our older listeners, how soft our generation and now Generation Z is, which I agree Generation Z is softer than millennials. Just going to throw that out there. As a millennial, we're obviously better than Generation Z. But what happens when, as soft as everybody thinks that today's kids are, you can't yell at them, you can't scream at them, you can't make them do what they don't want to do. Now, hey, coach, I didn't like how you talked to me in that meeting. I've still got my 1-year transfer. I still got my transfer. What do you think about that, buddy? Hey, you know, I don't like that this guy got 2 extra snaps in practice today that I didn't. Well, I still got my transfer. What do you think about that?
Well, coaches pop around everywhere willy-nilly, man. They go there for a coach, and then that coach leaves. Well, you want them to stay around with a coach that might not fit their program. Might not fit that situation.
That's different. But you gotta when
it allows them to move.
Exactly. But when you're having this discussion, you need to have those point of views at it. You need to have my point of views because all of these different elements and these different things are going to come into it. The positives of what you were saying, and I like the positives. I'm not actually really against this.
Yeah.
But when you have all the positives that you were saying come into play, there are going to be the negatives that I am talking about.
Okay, so
and
transfer portal.
Just like the CBA, realistically, yeah, I'd love for it to happen, but the world doesn't work that way.
Okay, so when the transfer portal came around, I remember several people. It's going to hurt the product. You're teaching kids to quit, dadgummit. Dabo Swinney it teaches them to quit and not stick things out. The past 3 Heisman winners are transfers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think
grad transfers.
That when you talk about that hurting the product, it has made the product better that the transfer portal's around.
Well, the thing is about grad transfers, and I don't mind grad transfers, especially, and it's ultimately ultimately the university's fault that the grad transfers even exist because they shuffle y'all in and out. I mean, how many you took summer classes? What all
every
year? I mean, we're the exact same age. We started at the university the exact same time.
I finished earlier.
You finished before me.
Yeah.
And I even took a few summer classes, but you still finished before me. I graduated in 4. You graduated in 3.5 or 3.
I will say it's a blessing. It's a blessing to have that scholarship.
Yes.
It really is. I will say that.
So if we didn't want grad transfers,
question.
then we'd stop shuffling y'all through summer school and May mesters and December mesters and all the other quick ways to get in and out. If we wanted to stop the grad transfer,
I just think there's overwhelmingly positive things that can come out of letting a kid transfer one time free of charge, basically. And there's limited negatives. And I think all the negatives are sort of slippery slope arguments saying, oh, well, he's just going to leave when he gets good enough to go to a big school, when I do not think sure, it'll happen.
Yeah,
sure,
it'll
happen. It's inevitably going to happen, but at the rate that people try to act like 100%. It's going to happen, that's what I'm trying to say.
Like I say, I'm actually for it in some cases. Now, do I think that I kind of like that there is a penalty? That way it really is a big decision and not just a spur of the moment thing where you've really got to sit down, not just with the coaches that you're trying to go to, but your current coaches, and you got to realize, all right, is this move really worth the penalty? Is it really worth me leaving this university and this place that I've come to know to chase this opportunity? If yes, then great, buddy, go for it. But you have to have those penalties and those things to really make you sit down and think, is it worth it? Where as far as if there's no penalty, it could be a spur of the moment type of thing.
Now you have one time you can do it, so you better get it right. That's the way I look at it.
We don't trust 17 and 8-year-olds to make the right decision. But if after a year we're talking still 18 and 19-year-olds to make the right decision with one shot, if that's the argument that, hey, they just made the wrong choice a year ago. Heck, I wasn't that much smarter at 19 than I was at 18.
Transfer, you have to get it right. If you're going to
shouldn't you have to try to get it right when you sign?
You have one chance to do it. You better get it right.
That's actually what me and Jalen just got to finish discussing. Saying if you're going to transfer, you have to at least let it be the right decision. Don't just
and people will inevitably get it wrong.
And are we allowed to bring in the grad transfer? Are they allowed to transfer after they graduate?
Yeah, I mean, they still got a year left.
I don't know the ins and outs of that. I'm pretty sure a grad transfer is a grad transfer.
But then with the transfer rule, think about Elliott Williams when he transferred from Duke back to Memphis. Because see, sometimes you want to be close to home, close to your family because certain situations are going on.
Yeah, and that's why when you transfer with stuff like that, a lot of times the NCAA does actually give you a pass.
Exactly. But
I mean, just off the top of my head, the first one I remember is Elliott Williams transferring from Duke back here to Memphis because of his grandmother. There are good, legitimate reasons, and I'm not against those.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm just against the slippery slope.
One thing I could possibly say, like, far as so it won't continue to happen, like, at least make it a deadline. If you feel like you want to transfer without penalty, give it a deadline to where you can try to transfer. At least make it that much.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Well, I'm tuckered out, man.
I won. I outlasted you.
Did you?
I think
did you? Did you? Really?
I think I did. And at the end of this great conversation that we have had here, I want to say that I'm all for doing what's best for you. All right. There's only one person that you can control. There's only one person in the grand scheme of things that you really need to take care of, and that's you, yourself, and I. All right. And I'm all for it. But you have to, when all the positives that you've brought up, you've got to bring in the negatives to have an actual conversation.
The negatives are absolutely inevitably going to happen, but at the rate that some people are
I don't think it's going to be a 98% rate, but it's still going to happen. And it still needs to be something that needs to be brought into consideration.
Yeah. But I do think this thing, I don't know how you feel. I feel like this is something that's sort of inevitably going to pass. Whether it's conference to conference, that's yet to be seen. But it's something that it's looking like the NCAA is going to adopt. But we will see. We will see in the next year what the landscape. And now we got the likeness coming along, getting paid for your name and likeness. So this is going to be a sort of a revolutionary time for the NCAA as a whole. And I'm excited and a little bit nervous to see what's to come up.
I'm just mostly nervous.
Well, we'll talk about a little baseball when we come back right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Upgrade your commute at Acura of Memphis. Seize the thrill and test drive one of our award-winning models, each packed with cutting-edge technology, luxurious amenities, and a driving experience that's sure to awaken your inner self. Driving shouldn't be a chore, it should be an adventure. Advance your drive today, shop our aggressive lease and finance options now. Luxury is waiting at Acura of Memphis, or shop online 24/7. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
I was just looking at Central Barbecue's website, eatcbq.com, and in their catering section, it says that there is no maximum amount of people that they can serve at an event.
So?
Somebody should test this.
Test what?
They say they can literally cater any amount of people.
Yeah, I'm sure they can. Central Barbecue's catering is a machine. I've used them dozens of times.
But have you ever tried to use them for a really big event?
Yes.
No, I mean a really big event.
Like what?
I'm thinking some fat cat rich guy should feed an entire Grizzlies game Central Barbecue.
Fat cat? Did you just come here from the 1920s?
I'm just saying somebody should really put Central Barbecue to the test.
You do realize you work for Central Barbecue.
I almost never...
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. It is that time of year where the weather is unpredictable, and given the recent storms, it's a good time to discuss insurance claims. So here's a few things you should know. Always hire a local contractor, because if you have a problem with your roof down the road, you want to be able to find him. Never allow anyone to pressure you into signing a contingency contract. They're used as sales tools, making you feel committed, and the truth is, those contracts are not worth the paper they're written on. Be careful of door-knocking salesmen. Some are reputable, but many are not. They canvass the neighborhood and tell everyone to file a claim, working their percentages and not caring if you file a claim even when they know the likelihood of it being approved is low. Some will even damage your roof hoping to convince the adjuster it's storm damage. That's fraud, and contractors have gone to jail for that. So do your research and know who you're hiring. Five-Ash Roofing, the official roof of the University of Memphis Athletic Department. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's
up a seat and grab a drink. It's Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. Let's go! This hour is brought to you by your CBD store, your one-stop for all your natural, organic, and non-GMO CBD products, where good health hits home. Here's Johnny Radio himself, John Harden.
Many a hand has scaled the grand old face of the plateau. Some belong to strangers and some to folks you know. Holy ghosts and talk show hosts are planted in the sand to beautify the foothills, shake the many hands. There's nothing on the top but a bucket and a mop and an illustrated book about birds. You see a lot up there, but don't be scared. Who needs Jackson when you got words?
Back with you here. Sports 56 Happy Hour. Johnny Radio is elsewhere. Gabe Kuhn, Drew Barrett here for our last segment here of the day. Carl Morris is producing the program. Have a couple texts here on the First Bank text line, 67129. Have someone coming in as far as the one-time transfer rule saying, how about this? You can transfer as many times as you want without losing any eligibility, but you must sit for a year when you transfer.
That's kind of what we have now, isn't it?
No, you can't transfer as much as you want.
Well, you can. Yeah, I mean, but you can ultimately try to.
I mean, yeah, but
I mean, is there really a cap on transferring if you if you take the 1 year?
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen guys transfer. We've
seen
seen guys transfer 2 and 3 times.
But when you forfeit eligibility, like it is now, you're forfeiting some eligibility. It just becomes a.
I mean, we've seen guys transfer 3 times before.
I think that's a weird thought process, but I don't know how that would work. Let's see. I've never seen a situation where people have said it's all good. Let's just leave it alone. They just have to change things. Yeah, I mean, well, as we grow, we change, and that's just inevitable in life.
Yeah, and the times they are changing. Yeah. Whether you want to admit it or not, I mean, honestly, I think things are good where they're at. I think sports are good and healthy. Except for baseball and Rob Manfred, and as soon as we get him out of there and Bob Costas in as commissioner, it'd be a whole lot better. But that's a different conversation for a different day.
Certainly, bone to pick with me for the NCAA. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think most people would agree that sports in general are good where they are, but people definitely thought that 10 years ago. They thought that 20 years ago. I mean, people fell out of their chairs when athletes started getting paid $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, things change. Money changes.
It does.
And you kind of have to, whether you agree with it or not, if you really love sports, you just kind of have to adapt and move on.
Here's another one. Teaches people how to quit. I think that was brought up with the whole transfer portal deal. And you can say it teaches you how to quit, yet the people that have used it have let's just say done well, especially in college football with the Heisman winners. Now, a couple of MLB notes. So did you see this news about Tim Tebow?
Yeah, he'll be playing with the Philippines.
In the World Baseball Classic.
Where he was born.
It is where he was born.
Be the biggest guy on the team.
By probably a decent amount. That's a big guy. And also,
he hit a home run the other day, too.
He's just not that
with the Mets.
Is he that good, though?
Oh, come on. You got to love Timmy Tebow.
Oh, I love Tim Tebow, but is he going to play a lot on this Philippines team?
I mean, probably. I mean, I don't know really what the talent level they have out there in Southeast Asia.
And I know you're an O's fan, so
O's fan.
Obviously, we don't get enjoyment out of people getting hurt, but at the same time, it does sort of. You're not a Yankees fan. I can guarantee that. The Yankees, Luis Severino, obviously out with the Tommy John. Now, Giancarlo Stanton suffered a grade 1 calf sprain and will likely not be ready for opening day. Same story, different year, right?
Yeah.
Same story, different year with Stanton. He just can't seem to stay healthy. He's a great player.
He is a great player.
Hits bombs, has a lot of power, but just cannot seem to stay healthy. I don't think it will affect the Yankees drastically in the fact that I still think they're going to be a very good team and they're going to be fine. Now, this is what I wanted to get to. Astros. They've been hit by 7 pitches through 3 games. Did you know that?
Only 7?
Training.
Only 7.
But
That's
here's
a shocker.
Here's where I'm at, and I know you probably feel differently. I'm not a big proponent of hitting people with the baseball necessarily. I've never been a huge fan of unwritten rules in baseball. I think
we love the unwritten rules.
I think they're old school, and I think sometimes they are taken too far.
It can be depending on how you interpreted the rules. I know I've played with guys who they'll beam a guy if they looked at him funny.
Yeah,
or
that's
if
what
they
I'm saying.
if they give up if they hit a home run and the guy stands in the box too long. Like even in high school, my high school coach had a signal to throw at somebody if they quote unquote disrespected disrespected the game.
I was never a big fan of that necessarily, but now I am in a weird place.
You love it.
Because what do we do with these guys? The MLB is not doing anything to
Rob Manfred.
They're not doing anything to these players. I hate unwritten rules and baseball logic at times, but I agree wholeheartedly with these guys getting nailed by pitch after pitch.
Now, how long will you be okay with it? Are you good with it just during spring training? Are you good with it a month into the regular season, or you want somebody to get beamed 162?
Each team deserves at least one.
Without penalty?
One good lick. That's each team.
Umpire can't come out there and say that's a warning.
After each team gets one, and then honestly, it's hard for me to tell the teams they're beating in the World Series that they can't feel some type of way about it.
Well, I don't know if they play the Dodgers in interleague play.
I know, but I'd be irate. I'd be so irate. I mean, seriously, I would. I hate normally the unwritten rules, but I'm in a weird place right now. I've got to be real.
I think unwritten rules, and there's probably unwritten rules in every sport. Baseball is just the most well known for having unwritten rules. One thing that I would like to change is the bullpen races. I don't think that the bullpens really need to run out when there's a little bit of a skirmish, and if you really want to fight that bad, square up with the other bullpen and fight out in center field.
Ooh.
Which I would love to see that. That would be phenomenal. And if I was in the major leagues, I'd be the first one to do it. I'd be running, smiling with them, and then I'd just veer over and bam, cold cock them. Because if I want to fight that bad, I'm going to fight.
I don't know how I feel about baseball fights. I'm going to be real.
It's a lot of fake tough guys, and that's what baseball kind of is full of. It is fake tough guys.
Their fights are actually funny, especially when the dugout's clear.
Back in the day, Nolan Ryan, just the way he used to fight, when he put Robin Ventura under his arm and just started wailing on it. That's awesome, though. I can't lie. But I feel like the Astros are going to get in a few of those this year. They have to.
If I'm the Astros, you can either take this one of two ways. You either don't fight, you accept that you're going to get hit, and you hope nobody sends a 98 to 100 mile an hour fastball at your noggin, that they stay around the rib area. All right, which you're probably. One of them is going to break a rib or two this year, depending on how frequently they get hit. I know Jose Altuve would be at the top of the list for me as far as
if you were betting, who would you bet on to get hit the most?
Altuve.
Me too.
Because of the buzzer.
Yeah.
But you can either take it that way, and you just got to take your lumps, and hopefully everybody gets it out of their system in the first couple of months, and you can get back to playing ball. Or, and I'd much prefer them to take this route.
Well,
throw the bat down and charge the mound every time. So send a message to Major League Baseball. All right, y'all want to do this? Y'all want to come after me? Well, guess what? You throw at me, and I know you did it on purpose. I'm coming right back.
Try to send a message to Rob Manfred about what they need to do with these players. But that'll do it for me and Drew today. Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wello and Stats is coming up next. Drew will be producing that program. But for Carl, for Drew, I'm Gabe. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 with
You have to be up in 5 hours, 2 hours, 6 minutes. And when you hear, you realize that you haven't slept a wink. That's why there's ZzzQuil Pure Z's, a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin so you can fall asleep naturally with no next-day grogginess. It's available in both liquid and gummies, tastes great, and is non-habit forming. Pick up ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vicks ZzzQuil. ZzzQuil Pure Z's, naturally superior sleep. Available at retailers near you.
Get to Holly Chevrolet in Marion to take advantage of great deals during Holly's 2020 kickoff sale. Right now, get 0% financing for 72 months on the all-new 2020 Chevy Silverado 1500 plus $1,000 bonus earnings. Or get